Welcome. This is a basic tutorial on how to make beer in your very own home, for personal use or to share with your friends and family. The output of this process will be 5 gallons of high-quality home brew conveniently packaged for consumption or distribution. Before we begin, be aware that 5 gallons of beer can weigh about 50 pounds, so seek assistance if necessary. Also be aware that you will be working with boiling liquids and chemical sanitizers, both of which can be dangerous. Now there is more advanced equipment out there, but this is what you would consider the absolute minimum for completing the process. First of all, you'll need a basic beer kit, and I'll talk more about where to get these here in a moment. 2 6-gallon casks, also called carboys, 2 airlock assemblies, a 3-gallon brewing pot, a gallon funnel. You can get those from the hardware store. Some sort of stirring device, a regular spoon will work, a thermometer, usually found in the kitchen, a pair of scissors for opening yeast packets, some food-grade sanitizer, a variety of brushes for sanitizing your equipment, at least 50 beer bottles, 50 bottle caps, a bottle capping device, about 5 feet of food-grade plastic tubing, a bottling wand, and 5 gallons of water. All of these items can be obtained from local stores, local brew shops, or from online resources. Now, let's get into the process. First, check the contents of your kit. Your batch of beer won't come out right if you don't have all the ingredients. A good portion of today's process is covered in the kit instructions, so make sure you read over them carefully and familiarize yourself with it. Now, take out your boiling pot and add 2.5 gallons of water. Go ahead and bring that to a boil. In the kit you'll find crushed or whole grains. Go ahead and put those in the grain bag and then put them in the hot water to steep. Be mindful of the time and temperature requirements for this step. You'll find it on the instructions included with the kit. There it is. You can just drop it right in the pot, or you can secure it with a piece of string for easy removal. After the appropriate time and temperature have been reached, remove the grain bag and discard it. Continue to observe the time and temperature considerations in the kit instructions as you mix in the other ingredients. It may have you remove the pot from the stove. It may have you adjust the temperature. It depends on the brew. This is liquid malt extract. And these are hops pellets. Once you've brewed together all of your ingredients, you now have wort, or unfermented beer. Next, you'll want to cool the wort as quickly as possible. Put it in the sink and surround it by ice, but don't actually put any ice in the wort. While this is cooling, go ahead and sanitize your 6-gallon cask and airlock and your gallon funnel, and also the pair of scissors. Once that's sanitized, you can go ahead and add the other 2.5 gallons of water to the cask. Once the wort has cooled down to about 70 degrees, go ahead and add it to the water in the cask. At the bottom of the pot, you may find a thick sludge. You can discard this. It's not necessary to keep it. Locate the yeast packet from your kit and have it nearby. Mix the wort with a rocking motion. Make sure to get plenty of air in there for the yeast. They're going to need that to do their job. Add in the yeast and give it another good mix. After it's mixed, secure it on top with the airlock device. You'll need to add a little water to that as well. With the airlock in place, put the cask somewhere out of the way where it won't be disturbed and keep it about 60 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Add a shroud or an old t-shirt to keep out as much light as possible. And now we begin fermentation. In 24 to 48 hours, you should start to notice a lot of activity on your airlock. If you lift the shroud, you'll see a cap of foam at the top and a layer of sediment at the bottom. This is a good sign that your beer has begun fermenting. If you look closely at the beer, you'll see it's very, very active, almost as if it's boiling. This is the yeast hard at work, turning the wort into beer. Replace the shroud and let the beer continue to ferment until the activity in the airlock has almost stopped. This usually takes 4 days to a week. After the fermentation has slowed considerably, sanitize a cask, an airlock, and your length of tube. By placing the full cask at a higher elevation, you can use the tube as a siphon and let gravity do the work of transferring the beer. Try to avoid transferring any of the sediment layer at the bottom. What we're doing here is we're removing some of the excess sediment and yeast, giving you a clearer, cleaner tasting beer. You may note the rigid plastic tube that I'm using here to assist in the process. This is a helpful trick, but it's not absolutely necessary. Once the beer has been transferred, add the sanitized airlock device. Replace it back in its spot and reapply the shroud. Refer back to your kit instructions for the recommended aging time. Be sure to mark a calendar or set a reminder for when your beer needs to take the next step. After the appropriate aging time, you're ready for bottling. For the bottling process, you'll need about 50 beer bottles, the bottle caps, the capping device, the bottling wand, the plastic tubing, and one of your casks. You'll also need the packet of priming sugar from your beer kit. Boil 2 cups of water and dissolve in the priming sugar, then add it to your sanitized cask. Transfer the beer into the cask with the priming sugar and mix it thoroughly. Place the priming sugar and beer mixture on a high surface and attach the bottling wand to your tubing. You are now ready to fill some bottles. Once you've got the beer flowing, you can fill the bottles by pressing the bottling wand into the bottom. Fill the bottles up into the neck, but leave 1 or 2 inches free for the gas to expand. Place a bottle cap in the magnetic portion of the capping device and crimp the bottle firmly. Repeat until all the beer is bottled. After about 2 weeks, the remaining yeast will have consumed the priming sugar and carbonated your beer. Just as a matter of science, the more priming sugar you add, the faster your beer will carbonate, and the more powerful the carbonation will be. You can always sample 1 or 2 as a spot check, but once it's reached the desired level of carbonation, that's when you want to refrigerate it. If you refrigerate it beforehand, it'll retard the carbonation process. Alright, you're ready to enjoy. Thanks for watching. You're now equipped with the knowledge to make your own beer.